Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie, Paul Gibson, and Josh Haynes. Everyone knows the trucking industry has issues, but most people are afraid to talk about it.
Someone's got to do it.
With loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world, we deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Welcome to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson.
And we're at the Future of Freight Festival F3 by FreightWaves in Chattanooga. There's a lot going on here, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes peek.
Yep, we're going to peel back the curtain.
Get ready for the banana puns. It's going to be a long episode, and you get 2 of them, so bear with us. We're having a great time at FreightWaves F3, and I decided to stop by and talk to somebody that actually knows what they're doing at this thing. So, Nick, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
It's a lot going on here. It's a lot to digest, a lot of content, a lot of people. This is a more formal setting where we can have more intimate conversations. Tell our viewers, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so we are Alvys, and Alvys is an operating system designed specifically for carriers. While it's designed for carriers, we also cover a wide array of things. So in a nutshell, I would summarize our entire platform as a system of record, workflow engine, collaboration platform with a hybrid architecture, embedded EDI, powered by a marketplace where carriers are able to source for new business. That's in a nutshell, and I could definitely break it down later on.
Yeah, that was a lot, and it sounds like you guys do a lot. So if you come to this conference with a purpose, not only to communicate the brand, but there's certain people that you're prospecting. Who are those people? Like if I was a carrier and I was looking for a solution, what would make me look at you as an option?
Yeah, so we all talk, especially at this conference, we talk about supply chain. And supply chain covers a lot of different things. And sometimes that could be confusing for a lot of people. We basically focus on middle mile. And within that middle mile, there's 3 main players: shippers, freight brokers, and carriers. However, the carrier is the component that's been overlooked the most by software companies. But they are actually the most important node in supply chain. And for some reason, a lot of folks did not understand and don't understand how to properly solve their pain points. So what we decided to do at Alvys is to actually have a laser focus helping the carrier. And we believe when we help the carrier, when we help the driver, the most important component where they're basically the ones that are bringing food to our tables. Once we do that, that's when we're going to help supply chain broadly.
That's an interesting take, because often you see people either target the demographic of just the drivers, just the carriers, just the brokers, and you're looking at it more holistically. Like you can not only service that one, but it also helps service the other experience for the driver and trickles down. What's some of the biggest problems that you think you guys address right now in the industry?
So looking at how carriers operate, we'll soon discover as they grow, they actually have to become hybrid. And I'll give you an example. Let's say they have a shipper, and shipper loves the way they service the account. And all of a sudden, the shipper is giving them a lot more freight. And when they get more freight, more than the capacity they have available, they need to be able to broker it out. But if they don't have the right system or the right workflows in place, they're not going to be able to broker out. So in essence, they're leaving money on the table. So what we've designed in our platform, we designed this hybrid architecture. And what I mean by hybrid architecture is where you're able to have all of the shipments in a unified dashboard, all while having multiple different P&Ls in the back end. Therefore, you're able to see how your brokerage business is doing, how your carrier business is doing, and one employee could actually tackle both. At the same time, you have different P&Ls and you're able to grow both businesses simultaneously. And that's actually what's happening in the market. Where a lot of software companies have gone wrong, they went only on a specific niche. But in reality, when I look at the front line, when I was in the business, I always had overflow freight. But because my system was limited, or I had to buy another system, and every time you buy another system and you log in to do your brokerage, one hand doesn't speak to another hand, and that's a problem.
That's trucking.
That is shocking, yeah. And so we basically eliminate that friction and drive more efficiencies by creating this hybrid architecture.
I think it's important that people are looking at those more holistic approaches because it isn't a one-size-fits-all, and you often see a one-size-fits-all approach applied to trucking, logistics in general. So I think it's really nice and refreshing to see people out there looking at it more open, broad stroke, and how can we fit in here? How can we help you here? And then opening the doors for more opportunities through building relationships. So you guys come to F3 for a reason. Outside of coming here to network with people and promote your brand, what's some of the best parts of this conference that brings you back each year?
I'm always amazed at how many different innovators come each year. It seems to me that we thought we solved a lot of the problems for carriers, but when you look around, you have these great ideas to help supply chain. That excites me. And every time I come here, I find new technologies, I find new ideas, new solutions, new companies. That's great to see in the midst of freight recession that we're experiencing. And I heard that we're actually coming out of it. Nevertheless, it's really great to see so many people, hyped up about this supply chain, logistics, trucking in general.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from FreightWaves and setting the tone, but outside of that, I think a lot of it comes from Craig Fuller himself. He likes to pump up the industry, build it up, share the good news. I mean, I saw the tombstone that the freight recession's over. It's dead. It's not coming back. We hope to see that hold true. I mean, that optimism helps drive people to go out there, want to spend, want to do. This last year has been painful for a lot of people. I'm sure, with your platform, you guys have seen it, talking to your clients and your partners. It's been a tough year.
Absolutely. And a lot of folks try to predict different data. They try to predict every quarter. I heard, we're going to come out of it. We never did. Next quarter. And it's always going to be next quarter. That tells me the economies, everything we learn in economics is we should not predict unless we know with certainty. And Mr. Fuller knows how to actually say things in such a way where he's pretty certain. So he knows what he's saying.
Yeah, he's a pretty good talker out of that stuff. So we're here. You're obviously doing your network thing now. But if our viewers want to find you guys, where can they find you guys?
Yeah, alvys.com, alvys.com. And by the way, just a small note. It's spelled with an Y, but we pronounce it as Alvys, and a lot of people want to pronounce Alvys, and I always correct them and say...
I was one of them at first.
Yeah, and I tell them, look, guys, you have to pronounce it like Elvis, and the reason behind it, we like to say that what Elvis did to rock and roll is what Alvys is doing to trucking space.
All right, so at this point, clearly you know that we are at F3 in Chattanooga. We are introducing a new segment called the Banana Interviews. The industry has a lot of regulations, and that sucks. And you drove for a while. Out of all the regulations, which one would you peel back?
I would have to just jump into those hours of service. I was a big fan of the split berth period. Let the drivers know when they can pull over and take their nap instead of forcing them to drive.
Yep, I get that. That's why I locked myself in the closet and made a documentary about it. There's a lot of bruise spots on the industry, and nobody likes those parts. What would you say is one of the biggest bruise spots on the industry?
It's getting your TMSs or your business systems to communicate via all of these different data formats. So a company like Kleinschmidt, we help you do those integrations so that your business systems, your TMS or whatever you want, can communicate with shippers. So we do that hard part and that connectivity piece, and we watch that data for you 24/7. So it doesn't have to be so slippery going forward. Get what I did there? You like that?
He's coming for my job. The industry is split on a lot of different issues. Which one is the most important to you?
Turnover. Yeah, driver turnover.
What do you think about that?
Companies need to be better at keeping the drivers they have and not relying on taxpayers to foot the bill for new driver training.
All right. So in summary, just do better. Maybe next year we'll be this cool.
Maybe? All right, so it's time to go behind the desk with Tenstreet, and we have Drew. One of the things we talked about talking about today was pay transparency. We had broker transparency, which just came up a lot here, but pay transparency is a little bit different. Definitely affects job postings, not just in the industry, but everywhere, and it is absolutely coming for everyone. What's that look like? What's that all about?
Yeah, it's definitely coming for everybody. It's a big scary monster in the room, and nobody really knows what it means as far as the bigger picture. All of these laws are pretty new, and what it is you've got to say, hey, we paid this much in the minimum and this much on the maximum side, and you've got to have that in every job posting or you're not compliant. Some states also require benefit statements, all sorts of things that you have to have in there. We just rolled out a few weeks ago a full pay transparency compliance thing. So if you are advertising in Tenstreet, we're helping you maintain that compliance and have go in there informed so that way you don't put yourself at risk.
That's crazy. So, what are some of the things that are required in that?
Yeah. So, for example, you have to have a wage range on your ads. So what that means is it doesn't mean you can have, we pay 27% of gross. That's not a range. That's not a wage. That's just what your sharing is. So you've got to have a minimum of reasonable expectation that you expect to pay the driver and a maximum reasonable expectation that you expect to pay the driver. And if you don't have it, states like Illinois, Washington, New Jersey, and others will sue you for not having that information in your ad. Some states like Illinois can even go after your ad if it is showing to people in Illinois, even if it's posted somewhere nearby, like Indiana.
So what you're saying is companies can still say up to in their ads. They just also have to say down to.
They could definitely still say up to and down to, but once again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a marketing nerd. So please ask your lawyer if you do have specific questions on how things are going. I'm saying that for our lawyer because she'll get me. But what you can do is you can still have average drivers, all of these extra things. I think that's fine, but make sure you have a minimum expectation and a maximum expectation. For hourly stuff, super easy. It's $26 an hour. Just have that in there, and that's a fully qualified wage range.
So it sounds like the job market may be about to turn into a banana republic, but you can hit up Tenstreet and get some ideas on how to navigate those kind of scary waters. That is the most negative part of the future of the freight, I think, so far. I'm going to go cry.
I'm over here at Highways booth with Reid. It's a pretty interesting show.
It's been a very interesting show. It's a lot of fun.
So tell me a little bit about Highway. What are you guys about? What do you do?
The premise of Highway is identity verification. Is the person you're talking to the actual person? And if they are the actual person, are they qualified to haul my freight? If they are qualified to haul my freight, onboard them, monitor them, get them in the door, and make it seamless and make it easy. The goal is no one has to do the hard work of checking multiple sites. If you're a carrier, it's click, 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 done. It should only take 20 seconds. And make it a smooth transaction between a broker and a carrier, vet, authorize, permit, you're in.
Well, and I imagine that gets tricky because, fraud and awareness and education are big missing components in the industry. So when you talk about fraud, people always come to one conclusion, like this is the only type of fraud, double brokering. But there's actually a lot more layers to this than that. And so tell us a little bit about your guys' solution here and how you guys have implemented systems and balances to help carriers be more successful moving forward.
Right. You're right. It's not just double brokering. It's stolen identity. It's stolen assets. It's there's a lot that goes into it, and there's always new attack vectors. It's not the same way twice ever. It's always something new every single time. So,
unlike those car extended warranty people.
Exactly. But yeah, so the idea of Highway is using financial level cybersecurity protocols that's been around for years, just not in freight. Like identity verification, you sign into Google every single day, whether you realize it or not. Single sign-on is a thing. Multi-factor authentication is a thing. Have me authenticate a person and verify them, and therefore eliminate the fraudsters while making sure the good guys get pushed to the top and actually get the freight they need to get to stay afloat right now.
So if I'm one of our viewers and I'm watching this, who's the type of people that should be reaching out to you guys?
Yeah, we only sell to brokerages. We talk to anybody and sales.
Yeah, you're talking to me. Troy's ever made.
Exactly, but we sell to brokerages. So brokerages buy our services. We service brokers to help them figure out who's right and who's not right for them on a specific load on a specific lane. We talk to carriers every single day. The service is for carriers to get authenticated and authorized, and therefore push up the good guys to the top and push the bad guys out.
And if you had to look at how the needle has moved in the industry, you see more fraud nowadays, less fraud. I mean, I imagine this is a constant battle.
Yeah. Fraud's always been, like, it's not like it happened all of a sudden. Fraud's always been, but I believe starting in like 2021 is when it became a hot topic. And then every year, I think I saw a stat from CargoNet that was like 400% growth, 21 to 22, and then another 500%, 22 to 23, and like 700%, 23 to 24, which is compounding.
It's all those people that were stuck in their houses and had nothing better to do, and they're like, hey, I'm going to become a fraudster.
Well, you find a low stakes, for lack of better terms, freight's an old school industry, right? A lot of paper, a lot of fax machines, a lot of phone calls. It's not quite the financial sector where everything's already advanced. So when you find a low stakes industry like trucking, and then you bring in brokers and carriers who are trying to operate rapidly, you have to make a decision right now. It's a hot load. That's a recipe for fraud and problems to arise. So it got popular in the pandemic. It was every news in the world had transportation and supply chain in the headlines. And when that happened, fraud just kind of found its footing. Yeah.
So at F3, you guys are here. You guys got this nice booth, nice display. Like, what is your favorite part of F3?
Ooh, the people, by far. Talking to you, talking to everybody, seeing our customers, talking to prospects, seeing our other vendors out there. I'm a big fan of FreightWaves. I used to work there, which makes it easy. But yeah, the people are always the best. And Stone Simple Pilots. Yeah, can't beat it.
That was pretty cool. It was very nostalgic. It was kind of funny walking in there because when they were big, I was just starting high school. So, like, there was people that were diehard into that. And I'm like, oh, I know this song. I don't know this one.
Yeah.
But it was a good concert.
It was a great concert. It's what I grew up on. My dad's a big STF guy, so I was in the back seat, the car seat, just kind of popping growing up. So last night was great.
And you got the hair for it. Like, when I bop, I just look like I'm out of place.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, to each their own.
So if people wanted to find you guys, how would they find you?
Highway.com is our website. Reid, Clements, I'm on LinkedIn. Reid@highway.com is my email. You can find me or Highway pretty much anywhere.
All right, so real quick, gonna get serious, take a break. Took off the banana costume, so you know I'm in business. I am here with TAFS. I got Ryan and Rob here. They, one of our sponsors, fantastic. They are a big factor in trucking. Bad joke. Anyway, so what's up, Brian? What are you guys doing here?
We're here actually to represent our carriers. Opportunities like this, a lot of times with them being on the road, they don't get a chance to stop in and come to a lot of these events to see some of the new technology and things that are out there. So we kind of come represent them, look for different partnerships and things that can enhance their business.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's pretty cool because that's actually like being a partner.
Yeah.
That's like actually like, oh, hey, you can't do something, I will pick up the slack, and that's not even necessarily what our product does. Do you guys have any other cool stuff you do like that?
We've got a lot of different things. I mean, our whole goal behind what it is we do is just to enhance their experience with TAFS. They can go and they can find factoring anywhere, but the more products we can involve them with, the more successful they are. It just leads to combined success that way.
Wow, that is awesome. It's kind of like being a partner with us.
That's right.
Hey, so what has been your favorite part of F3 so far?
Oh, it's in technology. I mean, this is future of freight. And so I really love being able to see like the demos of a lot of these companies, seeing what the next wave of freight looks like. And then same thing, being able to pass that information on to not only to improve our company, but to improve the experience of our clients by letting them know what's out there. But I love watching these tech and some of the AI stuff that's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, because trucking is 10 years behind. We talk about it all the time on the podcast. People talk about it all the time. A lot of people don't say it out loud. But as far as AI goes with the stuff that you've seen, like, even from your end, like with factoring and like, because obviously there's a lot of stuff to do with like destinations and stuff. How do you feel confident in AI becoming a common part of trucking?
Yes, I think there are so many menial tasks that have to be done. And the same thing with a trucker, your time is limited. And so you have your hours of service, you're taking a break for 30 minutes or an hour, and you've got to get a lot of things done in a short amount of time. And so I just think it's a natural next step to be able to, if you have AI able to answer emails while you're driving, with you not having to do anything, I think that's just makes their time to worry about exceptions. I think it's a better way to run a business.
So, and obviously in transportation, communication is huge, right? And so you do some sales stuff. So speaking of also like having AI answer an email for you while you're driving, and I know you guys are about personal touch, because you're here, you came here to find it out for people. What is your thoughts on that idea as far as sales and using AI responses like that?
On the sales side, it's always going to be hard because, again, that personal touch and that connection, that's part of what makes sales and what separates different things. I think there's ways to use it to kind of tee up conversations and maybe ask some open-ended questions to find out a little bit more about their business. And then based on those responses, get it over to somebody that has expertise in certain sides of the market to maybe take those conversations on. So it could do a lot of the filtering of the calls and kind of put you in contact with the right person, or then go in and give the right fit and right program for that client.
And that makes sense because I can see that now too, because it almost, when you explain it like that, makes me think of when you go through like an IVR system and you have to like press 1 to try to get who you're talking to, but also being very like middle of the road millennial. That sounds way cooler than dealing with voicemails. So I guess with F3 and being the future of Freight Festival, why do you feel like this one is an important one to go to?
Besides seeing you in a banana costume? It's here, it's in Chattanooga. There's a lot of freight that runs through here. It's just a good opportunity. A lot of the other shows that we attend, this one's a little bit more personal. You can walk around and actually get good conversations. There's not 5,000 people walking around where everyone's rushing through the conversation. So this one's a little bit more laid back and gives you an opportunity to dive in and have those deep conversations.
All right, one last question. So for the people that are watching this, who are trying to see the coverage and find out about things that are going on, in all of that, what would you want them to know about TAFS while they're watching this?
I would just say, we are here to find out more about what your needs are. And based on those needs, we got a lot of different programs that we can help you with. We can tailor a program for you. We're not cookie cutter. We know every transportation company is different. So we'd love the opportunity to kind of hear more about you and your business and see what we can do to assist you in growing.
So we had Charles out behind a driving simulator because he always talks about he used to be a driver. And I was curious to see how good he is. So if you had to say, after watching him, would you say, so 0 being like a steering wheel holder, 10 being like a super trucker, or like an ATA mascot, how would you say he's doing?
I would say he's doing on par with a company driver.
Checks out. So we're here at the Hyber booth, and logistics is nuts. We all know that. But Hyber is essentially logistics for your inbox. I know that I have like 1,000 unread emails, but you can get you and your team to feel like superheroes. Because that's, Super Banana Man. Loving it. Hell yeah. So coming up with all these puns is a little hard. I had to start using AI to get some of them. AI is great, and there's lots of room for it in a lot of places, including the transportation industry. You guys use AI. What do you guys do?
Hey, I'm with Wirebee, and Wirebee allows carriers to receive a multitude of calls at the same time by using AI agents to gather data about the incoming calls. So imagine that you post a hot load on DAT, you can immediately get 50 calls, right? Out of those 50 calls, you don't have time to talk to everyone. So our system connects with your carrier onboarding tool, is able to weed out any calls you don't want to answer, leaving you with just a number of calls. Those number of calls that pass your compliance checks are put in a queue, and from that queue, your reps are able to cherry pick calls at any time. So, for example, you're not stuck answering calls in the order in which you got them. You can answer the last call that came in first, or you can answer the 7th call, and that way you actually can take back control of your overloaded queue.
Nice. Yeah, because bananas don't last forever, and you don't have time to talk to a bunch of jerks. You want to talk to the people that matter.
We're having a lot of good conversations. One of the best ones I always enjoy having is with my friends over at Truck Parking Club and Evan. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
It's a lot to digest on this show. I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of content. What's your favorite part about it?
The debates.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm rooting for the other side, so sorry, John. I still love you. But tell us about, like, what's your favorite part of F3?
I think it's pretty diverse. So you get to see carriers, you get to see companies like Amazon Freight. You also get to see tech companies that are in the space. I think it's the fact that it's become a nice, diverse mix of drivers, carriers. You got VCs here. You got people outside the industry that are just coming to check it out. I think that nice mix is what I really enjoy about F3.
And there's so many different perspectives happening here. There's so many different conversations. I think that's just healthy for all involved. I mean, you guys are Truck Parking Club. You guys have skyrocketed to the top pretty quick around everything, respectively. A lot of things grew a whole lot slower. What's your secret for success that you can give some of the entrepreneurs out there?
I mean, from a marketing standpoint, be everywhere all the time, or try to be. Also, just delivering great experiences to your customers and staying very focused. I think that's the biggest thing is, like, at the end of the day, customers spend money with companies they want to work with, and ultimately they come back to companies that they want to work with again. At the end of the day, if you focus on the customer and keep them top of mind, the business will quite naturally grow. So be great at marketing, and then once you get that customer into the funnel, deliver a great experience so they're like, wow, I really enjoyed that. I want to use them again. And that's what we do at Truck Parking Club. We're obsessed being driver-centric and also taking care of our property members on the property side.
Well, I think that's huge because you could be really good at what you do, but if nobody knows you do it, it's not going to help you very much. And you guys are everywhere. There's not many people that I can say run circles around me, and looking at you makes me tired.
No, we love it. We love traveling. We love what we're doing. We're very mission-oriented. We help truckers save time and fuel by efficiently finding and reserving truck parking across the U.S. That really drives us, the entire team, and we're just very focused on that. So if that means going to 50 truck shows and conferences a year, that's absolutely fine with us.
I imagine just meeting those people, hearing all those different opinions and perspectives, it helps. You're able to take that back, digest what works, leave what doesn't. And you guys have a solid brand, solid reputation. It's kind of cool to watch it all transpire over time. I'm not even that old, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it all goes.
Yeah, we're just going to keep pushing. And yeah, I think you hit a good point. Going to these shows, and especially specifically like truck shows, going there and seeing a lot of drivers getting their feedback and not talking from a perspective of a company that never gets around their customers. We go to the truck shows. We talk with hundreds, thousands of drivers at these shows, and we want to hear what they think, good and bad, about Truck Parking Club. And I think that's also been a big part of our success.
Well, that's great stuff. Where can people find you, even though you're everywhere, just in case they've been living under a rock? Where can they find you guys?
Just go to truckparkingclub.com. In the footer of the site, you have all of our socials. We're active on every single social, but truckparkingclub.com. If you have any questions, feel free to call in our 24/7, 365 customer service line made up of former drivers. That's 888-899-PARK. That's 888-899-7275.
That's awesome stuff. Thanks for taking some time, and thanks for being a sponsor, my guy.
For sure.
So we've talked to a lot of people, made a lot of new freight friends, covered a lot of topics, but that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. See you next time. What the Truck's up next.